episode of our session. Welcome everyone online. We'll start on time, just like always, as more and more people are joining. Um, just a few words before we dive into today's session. Just wanted to share the word about Winterize. Winterize is our sports tech platform. Winterize allows you to look for any information you need to know about the sports tech ecosystem, whether it be the startups, the investors, the communities, the academia, and so on. Winterize is free to sign up, so please join the community. Create your profile, update the information about your organization, and we'll see you on Winterize to be part of this enlarging sports tech community. Again, just as today we were going to be tackling the sports comeback, the challenges and the solutions the industry is facing. And before we dive into the conversation with Ophir, that I'd like to welcome on the line. Ophir, it's an honor to have you with us, and followed by Pierre. Just wanted to share a few thoughts about this topic and kind of an overview of the situation as of today. So as we know, after months of suspension due to this unprecedented crisis that the sports industry has been coping with, sports is back, at least in some extent. If you look at the kind of the agenda of return for the major leagues and organizations across the industry, you can see that Korea and the Korean Baseball League was the first to return early May, and then followed by NASCAR in the US, also the Bundesliga in Germany that has set kind of the industry standards. So the football world in Europe, the soccer world is mostly back. But if you look at the major leagues in the US, still a lot of discussions around this because the pandemic is still very much present here. And same for tennis. Look at what happened a couple of weeks ago during the Adria Tour, where even Novak Djokovic himself contracted the coronavirus. The situation is far from being resolved. So that leads us to the kind of risk and uncertainty that the leagues and the organizations in the sports industry face when returning to the game. We identify three main challenges here. The first one, of course, the most obvious, is to keep players safe and healthy. And so that is a very big challenge when returning to the game. And the solutions that we've seen, of course, in line with the health guidelines, is widespread testing. And the sports industry has been partnering with a lot of companies also to accelerate the result delivery, to make sure players are tested regularly and very fast. Of course, to implement strict safety protocols, and I think we'll talk deeper about that as well. Injury prevention is a big risk. So a lot of methodologies around how to prevent players' injuries after months of inactivity. And then, of course, using innovative technology, and we'll dive deeper with that on this with Ophir. If you look at some examples, the NBA, for example, decided to isolate completely 22 basketball teams from the league to run their playoffs, and they had a 113-page manual of health and safety guidelines, which to some extent, some in the industry argued that it was just way too much, and that returning to the game in those conditions was not even relevant. Again, the Bundesliga has set the industry standard in that regard, even though, of course, the injury rate also of the German players in the German league has been high. And they also had a large safety guidelines. Some of the tips, teams take field separately, no team photos or handshakes, mask when not playing. All of those are part of the solutions to cope with this big challenge. And the NBA recently also announced that they were going to use a smart ring to track key symptoms, key metrics about the players' health, and to keep them healthy and to keep the game safe as well. So we see a lot of examples of using wearable technology and smart technology in order to cope with that challenge. The second challenge is that we are playing now in empty stadiums, and so because of the risk of community spread in those environments, so the solution is to think creatively to engage the fans remotely, at least to make it seem like they're in the stadiums as well. In Germany, you had a lot of examples of that, cardboard being used in stadiums. We also saw Zoom watch parties to engage fans during the games, and a lot of virtual reality and augmented reality features to kind of enhance the experience. And even broadcasters have been using a lot of sound effect to recreate the environment of the game. And I think Ophir will give very key insights on that regard as well. The last challenge is that no fans in the stadiums, does that mean no business as well? And of course, when you look at the event revenue loss curve, I mean, it's been exponential over the last few months. So the sports industry is losing money because of that. So we have to think creatively to find new innovative revenue channels. And so that can come notably through the streaming area with AR and VR activations that are being implemented. And, you know, a lot of sports properties have been figuring out that if they want to monetize their games and no tickets are available, then you have to be able to produce it and to distribute it to the fans at home. So streaming has been on the rise and many other areas to generate cash sponsorship activations and so on until the game can come back. If you look at this last stat, the ESPN streaming service has been rising exponentially over the first quarter of this year. I mean, the numbers are crazy, and tell them that there's a high demand for the fans to get in the game and get a stake in the game. As just a concluding remark for this introduction, you know, we think creativity, innovation, and technology combined will help sport properties around the world to overcome this situation. And so I'm very pleased and happy to be welcoming Ophir on the line to discuss this topic. Ophir, Frank, a good friend of mine and expert chief technology officer at the Maccabi Tel Aviv basketball. Ophir, welcome, first of all. I hope everything is well where we sit. And maybe if you want to share a bit about your background and recently maybe some examples of how Maccabi Tel Aviv basketball has been dealing with the situation. Ophir, I think,
yeah, you can hear me. So thanks
yes.
again. Hi, everybody. You can let me share my screen?
For sure. There you go.
So, great. So I want to give before I share my screen and tell you about, and show you some of our solutions, I want to give you a bit about our worries about the sport teams, which are, we don't have the supply chain of the sport events, but we see the event as the major entertainment event, and it's not only sport, and we have to take care that the players will feel the sport as a sport and not only as a training games. They have to feel the competition. They have to feel the someone on the window, just a sec. So you know, so the challenge was once to take care that the game will have the atmosphere of a game, and then to take care that people at home will want to watch the game and not leave the stream or the broadcast, because you know, it's sometimes when you don't have the noise and you don't have the atmosphere, you feel that you don't have the passion. You know, people don't really feel that it's a real sport, and you lose the people, the subscribers, the viewers. So, and then the last thing is the fans. It's not the last, but the fans is really an issue because they feel really related, and they feel that they don't have any way to interact and to feel close to their team, to their stars, and it's another issue, and we have to to consider all of it. So it's really, and I have to put a really important thing that I don't know how many people are really aware of it. You know, people speaking about the cut of loss, the income and everything, but we have a major loss. And you, from one side, you want to be a very competitive, so you want to have the best players, and you want to create the best event, and you want to find compensations to give everybody around the best. But from the other side, we are struggling with the very heavy expenses and so it's a really serious issues, and we have to be very innovative. We have to be very thinking out of the box, and to find ways to collaborate with others around. Sometimes we have a problem there is issues regarding the regulations. I don't know how many of you know that you see the virtual fans around the world, which is in most of the European countries, it's not legal, so they have to change the law or to create a special approvals. Both of the technologies that doing the tracking, virtual tracking, is Israeli companies that sold in the past. You know, one is Artiset that went to VisaRT, and the other one is Orad that went to Avid. Avid, both of them creating the same solution. In Israel, we still have a problem that the government right now is not letting us do it because from different issues. Okay, so I don't want to spend too much time on talking. So
no, but that's super interesting, and I think the audience is very keen on seeing examples of, as we said, the innovative, creative ways that you've been using to recreate that atmosphere, and also from a revenue perspective to kind of generate new income. If you're able to share your screen.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, so one of our major issues was how to create an impact, and to what is really changing in the arena, and what's really changing. The thing that we want to do on a daily basis we can do because we have fans, and it's interfere to the fans and to the best seats. And then we realized that the best thing to do is to create not a virtual fans, and not to create banners, but to bring a very big video wall that is in very high quality, because of the TV system, that not like in football that you're taking that the cameras are very far from the field. In the basketball, you need a very high quality of LED screen, because otherwise you don't get a good picture. And then this week on Sunday we had the first game, and today is our second game later on today. So, and we learn from our mistakes, but I will give you some to feel how it works. So we combine fans and advertisement. So you see, so first we can use it for our to the impact to create a stronger show of the.
Very interesting.
And then if we go into the game, I'll try to find a good. Okay, so you'll see the power of the wall, and for advertisement, it's never was there before. It's very impressive, and that gives us a new tool to create incomes into the team. And now we are working and seeking for technologies. I will move forward. So now we're seeking for technologies to create a better interaction, to bring fans into the screen, but we don't want to use it. It's from my end. No, it's okay. We don't want to do it as it's made with the Zoom, as you mentioned in Scandinavia, in Denmark or in Finland, because the problem there there is an issue that when you from one side you want to create a big variety of fans, so you want to create a mesh of many fans, but what comes out of it, because of the technology, that you get some feeling that all the fans are sitting in a cube. And I don't. For me, I feel that it's a bit giving you a feeling of memorials, and I feel like a memorial of a game. So we are trying. I don't want to insult anyone, but this was my feeling, and we try to look to create something more alive that gives happiness to the fans, that make them in a place where they want to interact with each other. So
Right.
we are looking now. We are seeking for technologies, and we are doing things.
And speaking of that, so yeah, those are, so then you have like digital activations as well, like for the fan as well to engage from where it is.
Yeah, what we did right now, the first thing that we did, we just we made a campaign on our digital platforms, and all the fans had the opportunity to send pictures, and we in advance, and we just edit them on and we make a mistake. I must say we learn from that, but we make the pictures too small and too many. And now we are going to make them much bigger and to create a bigger impact to every picture.
Yeah.
I believe that because of the I believe that we will make it much better. And we are looking now to create kind of interactions, to make competitions from home between fans at home on the board. We are working on it. We don't think. I hope I'm wrong, but we considering like we'll have to begin the next year on the same terms, even if we'll get better and we'll get 50% of the arena full. We still have a great loss of income, and we will have to create compensation also to our. I lost my.
Because the exposure of the sponsors is more, let's call it bold in these kind of games. Do you think, although there are not spectator in the stadium, maybe sponsor would like to pay the same amount or even more?
I tell you, it's right now the economic situation, like the fan situation, like everything. Everybody is managing under cloud of unknown that we are, and we have the idea is to try to do things and to understand on the way how to, but not to wait to the market to come. We are trying to leave the opportunities and then to see who can join us, and not to wait for others to come with an ideas and then to bring them to us. We believe that we know our market, and we know what is the best for the game and for our fans and for the. Not many people understand even what is the rules of a game when it runs, because a game is actually 3 events that running on the same time on the same place with 3 different rules, sets of rules and regulations. It means the game itself, it's managed by the leagues, and it have its own rules. 2 players can fight, kill themselves inside, and no policeman can go in, and no one can interrupt without the permission of the referee, because this is a different rules, and it's different area. All around, I don't hear you, Tim. Tim, you are on mute.
And Ophir, I have another question regarding the sponsors. Do you see new sponsors that are like more relevant to all the COVID or after COVID situation? They are more into the sport right now? I don't know, like Logitech or like technology?
Yeah. First, I believe yes. I think we are moving. I think as you see that there is more and more releases of the big platforms of VR and AR set kits, and people understand that things are moving, and there is, as people are the more distance, social distance, or I don't know if there is any social distance relations today. So there is more and more place for VR and AR. I can show you some stuff that we are doing. Like this is something that we are working on with Theta V. That it's we scan our players. So this is the previous scanning. It's a very high resolution of scanning. And this is Danny Avdia, is a prospect for the next. Then we took his avatar, and now because we have the avatar and we can connect the avatar to any skeleton, so we just enter Danny into a game, and now we have all our players inside a game, so we can make any kind of interactions that we want. So we are going into a new era of interacting with players. I can show you the same. We have now an app that we are working on. This is something that we run in a CS together with Theta V. So this is
amazing.
This is something that too much noise, but you understand the options that we can create. I can give you some more. We are working. Tim, I see that my time is out. So
No. I was just going to jump back. I mean, I think this example of the augmented reality in gaming also is very relevant, because we've seen the rise of gaming in those times, and I think even for regular sports, fans are increasingly looking for very engaging experience where they can actually take a stake in the game. So I was just very impressed by by this example. But we're also running out of time in a sense. But maybe to wrap it up, Ophir, what's your take on what's the main message? I mean, you've conveyed like a very powerful message where times are hard, but you have to think outside of the box and also be proactive. So what would be your advice to both sides of the ecosystem, to the sports properties that have to deal with these challenges and find solutions, and also to the providers, to the technology people and the startups that are on the line that have also the solutions?
I put it that way. I think first of all, the sport clubs and the leagues should be very proactive, should understand that what is their strengths, where they can, that they have a very interesting content, they have a powerful content, they have their fans. They should keep their connectivity with the fans and to find a way to be attractive to everybody, and to look all the time to be more and more, and to challenge the system, because I think in these times there is also opportunities to create change in the regulations, or to talk with the leagues and to get more content back to the teams, or to do things together, because I think there is a new opportunities in the ecosystem. And the other thing, I think we should never stop. We should never stop looking to find I don't know how to say it exactly, but I think that every day there is a new technologies, there is new opportunities. I think we should open our doors to the technologies, and also the technologies have to understand that they have to come mature in these days, because when you knock on a door today, there is not a time that you're checking things for the long term. You're looking for things that working, things that you can trust, that you can move forward. But you don't have time now for long trials, and you don't want to deal with technology that is not ready. So
Fear, very small question before we finish that. So I'm sure many startups reach to you, and I'm sure that you have many connections with other basketball and other sports teams. So like some of them are like more pull and some it's more like a proactive. But I know many sports managers around the world looking for like the best way to approach, like to know what, for this example, which startup can help me with the stadium. So from your experience, what you will recommend for those managers, how to scout and how to manage those technologies?
In 30 seconds, of because we
Okay.
got. Thank you.
First, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Technology, innovation, need a mistake. So before you go out, make tests and learn and understand. The other thing, there is always people like me, other people in the market. I think they are very experienced and open to discussion and to give an advice and to discuss and to check and to try to help them to find the right direction. I think most of us are innovation people in the sport ecosystem are open and answering, and I think there we are quite a healthy community, and people should knock on the door and ask questions. We try to help.
We
Absolutely.
share the same passion, so easy.
We do. So thank you thank you so much, Ophir. I think you emphasize that we are one community, we share insights, and we are open and to think creatively and out of the box. So thank you so much for all those amazing insights, and congratulations on the great collaborations you've been leading with the startups of the ecosystem and creative activations with the screens and so on, many more. So thank you, Ophir. Amazing. See you very soon. See you next time, and good luck with the rest.
Good luck.
I'd like to.
Sorry that I have to go, but I have a game now, so I have to leave you. But I'm really sorry.
No, thank you. We appreciate
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And I'd like to move on to our second speaker, tackling another perspective of this topic. Just in a few words, it will tell his intro better than myself, but Pierre is a high performance expert, decades of high performance expertise in many US-based sports teams, but also football teams, obviously soccer teams, and also right now at FIFA. Pierre, welcome to the talk. Thank you so much for being here. First question, maybe, can you summarize it in a very brief way, your background in the performance space and what you've been saying in the last couple of weeks with that situation?
Hi, good morning. Good morning for me. I don't know where you guys are, Yeah. Good day, everybody. Happy to be here. Yeah, I'm going to go very quick because just like the previous speaker, I have 15 minutes, not more, because I have like a conference call later. Yeah, so basically I've been in the world of performance for 25 years now, mostly based out of the US. This is where I am right now. I'm in Los Angeles. Working for FIFA. So I've been a high performance expert for the US Soccer Federation for 11 years, for the UAE Federation for a little more than 3 years, and then clubs in France, in the Premier League, in the Championship, and the MLS.
Amazing. And so what is your experience telling you about the methodologies and the environment you have to create to enable like the return of the game and the return of training as well after this unprecedented situation? I mean, never in history players have been out of the game for so long.
No, that's true. Never have they been stopped during the season. So obviously the situation I know the most right now is the situation going on here, where the players in MLS have been playing 2 games and then all of a sudden be put on hold. So they just finish a long preseason, they get into the competitive period, and then they have to break again. I know Europe was a little different because it was the tail end of the season. So basically what I could see and what I'm still seeing to this day about the return to play after the COVID break is not really different, from what you would experience, before preseason. So you always have to, different people doing differently, but overall, I think the majority of people are just applying the good old recipes of, periodization, breaking down the intensity, the volume, gradual intensity. They have players that have been staying active more or less, depending on what part of the world we're talking about, depending on the level of the teams. When you had Bayern Munich and big clubs in Europe, where you have Zoom, they all have their personal gyms, so that gives you like a world of opportunities. This doesn't apply, let's say here or in many countries where, especially for the players living in urban environments, it had been quite a challenge. So yeah, again they went back, and some were really old school, meaning you start low volume, low intensity, and then you ramp it up. I mean, you don't ramp this one; they don't go parallel. Obviously, volume intensity. This is Medvedev 101. They cross each other. They go in opposite direction. Yeah, this is what I would have done as well. I would have definitely started with a moderate volume and low intensity, and then I think there's a value now to make sure that you hit different KPIs on a regular, micro dosing of different KPIs on a regular basis. Over the long term, I think is a successful strategy.
Well, that makes sense. And regarding the injury prevention specifically, because we've seen some players in Germany, for example, we've seen a higher rate of injuries, and this has been really the emphasis. I mean, I was talking to other performance experts. They say, we're so worried that when we return to the game, the intensity is going to be so high, and also the rhythm of games every 3 days to catch up with the games that were missed. What can you do from as a coach or a performance expert to mitigate this risk and lower it to the minimum?
Yeah, I mean, that situation was control damage. The best injury reduction, because you can prevent as much as you want is going to happen. The best injury reduction for me is a structure and stable training environment, and system. So the challenge this time around was that you didn't have access to friendly games and just injury reduction method, and so basically this is why you kind of knew that it would go, that it would be trouble once it started. So my advice is really work in collaboration with your head coach and make sure you can recreate game condition, at training. That's assuming you have enough players. That's assuming you have, enough motivated player, but we know that nothing replaces the game. And in this case, there was no way you can replace the game. So I'm not going to say that doing specific work, in the gym would have changed dramatically, other than the one that is being done, just to be clear. Really, there was not much you could do. I wish I could help you and tell you that there's a recipe out there, but no, other than playing hard on a regular basis and controlling the volume and make sure the intensity is game intensity and ramping it up on a regular basis. And yeah, I mean, the one thing you do obviously is you control individually, player by player.
Yeah.
But yeah, not being able to play games, not being able to put these guys in game environments, it's not gonna be perfect.
Usually football is a very team sports, and like you can see the progress during the year and everybody together. And the Corona situation make everybody discover himself and more than a hard worker. Some, I'm sure, was very strict with himself, some not. So how you, first of all, recognize these gaps and how you maybe leverage, because some players can have a great improve in this time, some maybe decrease.
Yeah, I mean, obviously this is sociology 101. Again, you have 20, 25, 30 in front of you. And yes, they're not going to behave the same at the same time. And some guys are going to slack for whatever reason. Some guys are going to be on top of things, And sometimes in this situation, recently, some people that wanted to be on top of things just couldn't, So it's a little different than a regular preseason. For me, I like to give them programs that are hard but achievable. Okay, and I always
do you
give
use
feedbacks.
any digital tools to break?
Yeah. I mean, we know they have GPS unit, they can upload, so you get numbers. But as you know, I can hop on my bike, and you have to think I can play. I can hop on my bike and pretend whatever. Yes, so they have watches, they upload everything, through through the Viper units, and then you get all the data that you want. What I do as well is in programs, I I know exactly which days would be the hard one, and I like to check with these guys now. Doesn't have to be video. It's just a quick text, a quick WhatsApp. How was it today? And if one guy told me, yeah, today was great. I mean, no problem. Then is bullshitting you, and then your team. I mean, your team anyway. So the biggest problem is when they come back. When they come back, so this time the biggest uncertainty is that we didn't know exactly why they were coming back. So that's the biggest thing, to challenge when it's time to design. But I've been talking to a few clubs here. When they come back, if some guys are behind, I really don't believe in the extra workload, because that'd be going against the everything that we talked about when it comes to volume and intensity. But you just have to put them in front of a responsibility. I think you said it's a team sport. Yes, it's a team sport. The team is going to judge the guy who hasn't done the right thing for the team.
And I have another question
top,
more in the macro level. So we heard some, I don't know, articles, and they say maybe we will make a 70 minutes soccer match, or like change the sport, the rules, the sport, the traditional rules that we know. What do you think about this kind of new thinking?
I'm not sure I understand the question. What do you mean change the rules?
So we heard some people that say the football don't gonna be 90 minutes because the player
okay.
it will be 70, or you can have five substitutes or things like that.
I mean, no, I mean, I don't want to say I'm a purist, but they've already had the five subs rule, which was a good one, and I think it might stick for a while. I wouldn't be surprised if this keeps going. No, I think you have to state. I mean, I don't know why I would go to 70 now that we have five rules, so five subs. It's either or. Watching games, I don't think I've seen a. I don't think you'd have to look at stats, but everything that I watched lately, in terms of injury, for example, I don't think the last 20 minutes have been the one that are actually hurting the player the most. You can debate it from a viewer standpoint, from a TV standpoint, but no, I think we gotta stick to the rule. I mean. I don't see why we'll change the game all of a sudden to rechange it later. No.
No, for sure. And maybe a question, more general question about the use of technology. I mean, over the last few years, we've seen the rise of course, wearables, a lot of different technologies. Even, we see computer vision being used to track the players' movements. And in the performance environment, in your field, how do you implement those technologies? What do they add to the training environment, and where do you see kind of the next big breakthrough in that perspective to improve players' performance?
So for me, how do I incorporate it? I mean, I want the technology to be the least disruptive possibly. So the one thing I've been waiting for years would be like the wearable fabric and the chip. So now we don't have any heart rates, monitor anymore. This is coming with the vest from the GPS, so that's big. I think eventually, to answer your second question, I mean, the next breakthrough in my mind is it's always around the sleep technology. The easy themes like sleep, like cramps. I did my thesis on cramps etiology maybe 20 years ago, and I don't think we know more today about cramps that we knew before. What causing them and how to prevent them more than anything. So that would be one. I think that eventually visual tracking would be the norm. I think any technology that can come up, and give you data without having its presence felt, without modifying, any type of biomechanics as a huge upside. So visual tracking, And then sleep technology, and by sleep technology, I don't mean sleep monitoring. I mean, we have everything we know. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean more mostly like processes, you know, and how to regulate the sleep. So I've been looking in a few of these lately. I've been looking in, like, you know, I'm gonna beta test like 2 technologies next week of you know, like equipment that, you know, can put you to sleep pretty much, you know, can help you relax and recover in different environments. So that to me is the challenge of the future. Before
It's
anything
amazing
else,
that
yeah, go
It's
ahead.
amazing that you mentioned the sleep. Actually, in Israel, we have some really interesting startup around this field. If it's a sleep rate or days, and we talk a lot about the physical effects, but I'm sure there is also a lot of mental effect after the COVID and new challenges. What in
Yeah.
perspective are the most crucial challenges in this field?
Yeah, I mean, again, it goes, you know, I mean, the same thing that I said before apply to your question, which means it's depending who you're dealing with, you know, depending what type of individual you have in front of you. Some, you know, you have to know exactly the making of your team. Some guys are going to roll through on day one of you know, like the post confinement, just like it never happened, you know, and some guys are going to be a little more worried. So, you know, MLS got a tournament in Orlando resuming in 2 weeks, and I know some guys in some teams don't feel comfortable, and it happens at the NBA level as well. So the resources for this, you know, is knowing the making of your players, having, you know, it never hurts to have a psychology expert, you know, as part of your expanded staff. But for me, it's about communication, and I don't, just like for sleep, when you can know everything about the player and still can help him sleep at the right time and as much as he needs. The same for psychology. You know, you can, the way you can know everything about your player is to have a big enough staff so that you can attack it through different angles. I always say, you know, there are players I have less time for, you know, and hopefully as part of my staff, you know, we can have all these players covered because, you know, different people get along with, you know, differently. But other than that, you know, you want to have a good feel for who exactly feels and how, at what time. And then you can move on to the next phase. What is the next phase? Again, it could be a million things. It could be showing him, you know, like data that to show him he's safe. It could be 1v1 talking with the sports psychologist. I don't have any answers other than, you know, you can control what you can control, which means know your people.
Amazing. Well, I mean, I think we'll have to release you for, I think you have a conference call with the FIFA also, or
I do.
colleague. So, I mean, those are amazing insights. I think it's a very powerful message to, you know, make the technology very light in a sense of its implementation within the training environment and focusing on the right metrics. And as you said, there's always the human aspect that we want to keep also about to track the performance of the players. So thank you so much, Pierre, for sharing those insights with us today. Best of lucks with the next journey, and again, we'll be very happy to be in touch on this topic. I think, you know, we've had a lot of conversation around this issue lately, and a lot of technologies in Israel that are popping up to help those different parameters that we're looking at. So thank you, Pierre. Again,
Anytime. You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you very much.
And so it's our way to wrap it up. I just wanted to share a few words about the upcoming things we have. The Sports Tech Demo Day on Thursday, July 16th. So if there's any startup on the line, please feel free to apply. Get exposure to investors, to industry experts that will help you take your business to the next level. Also want to share an extreme good news about the hosting and partnership with La Liga and the Israeli Premier League of an executive seminar next July 9th about introduction to innovation for sports organizations. Registrations are open now. We have limited spots available, so make sure to book your spot. This is a unique opportunity for sports organizations executives to learn about how to implement innovation within their environment and using technology and getting insights from the world leaders in this field. So please join us. And as for us, we will see, just to show you the registration page. And then we will see each other next Thursday, July 23rd, for another round of those Global Sports Tech Talks. It's always a pleasure to have you with us. Please feel free to share any feedback you have on the format, on the topics we'd like us to tackle. And yeah, see you next time. Thanks to the team, Tomer, and everyone online. Pleasure, and see you very soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
I never